my friends, this is Paul, and welcome to A Common Touch of Fantasy. Today, we have a horror review, and the horror review is for The Lesser Dead by Christopher Buehlman. I gave this book a 4 out of 5. For the plot, I gave a 4. For the characters, I gave a 4. For the world building and setting, I gave a 5. For the writing style narration, I gave a 4. And for the heart and mind aspect, I gave a 3. For a total score of 20 out of 25. Alright, a brief summary of The Lesser Dead by Christopher Buehlman. The Lesser Dead starts out in New York City in the 1970s. 1978 to be exact. Our story follows Joey Peacock, a 14-year-old vampire that was turned back in the 30s. Unfortunately, he hasn't aged a day since. Joey Peacock likes to run around the city, go to discotheques, go to punk clubs, and charm young women into drinking their blood. He is a very sarcastic and insolent character, a character that's pretty much a jerk, but I find him to be hilarious. Joey lives with a group of vampires down in the New York City subway. They are kind of a family, and they are ruled by an older vampire called Margaret. Margaret is the one that turned Joey. She is a tough-as-nails Irish woman that is serious and extremely scary. These vampires aren't the lovey-dovey vampires, but they try not to kill anybody because they don't want humans snooping around down where they live, and they don't really want humans to know that vampires actually exist. Because of this, when a group of very young vampires show up and they start killing individuals, Joey and his group get scared because they don't want the humans to find out that vampires are real. But these little kids are so brutal and so bloodthirsty that they just leave a bunch of dead people in their wake. So the majority of the story follows Joey as he tries to figure out the origins and the mystery that surrounds these younger vampire children. I really like this book a lot. I was in the mood for a horror book, and so I picked this up. I wanted to read like a classic vampire tale. I don't want these vampires that fall in love with humans. I want vampires that suck the blood from humans. You know what I mean? And this was perfect for that. The first thing I noticed while listening to this audiobook was that Christopher Buehlman himself is the narrator. Sometimes when an author narrates the book himself, it turns out. Other times, it's just kind of amateurish. But Christopher Buehlman did an amazing job. He is so good at giving characters their unique voice. Everyone has their own accent. Everyone has their own unique personality. Everyone talks different. At no point while listening to this audiobook did I ever struggle with trying to figure out who was talking in what scene. The characters in Christopher Buehlman's The Lesser Dead were just phenomenal. I really like Joey Peacock. He is a jerk, but he's like Dr. House or maybe Sherlock from the BBC. He's just a very sarcastic individual, but deep down, he really does care. But I just really love his character. I laughed so much during this book. It was just hilarious. The other characters that Buehlman creates are so unique, so distinct, that they're just so much fun to read about. Margaret, the Irish vampire that turned Joey, she is just crazy weird, and I like her so much. She uses a shovel to kill vampires. There are other characters in this book that I absolutely love as well, including Svetko and Luna, and also the creepy little children. So the plot really does revolve around these creepy little children. I like it a lot. I thought the plot was very tight, very focused. It didn't drift too much. At times the scenes might have been in an odd order, but I really enjoyed the plot. It's just a well-crafted, unique story. So my favorite part of this book, without a doubt, was the setting and the world building. Buehlman does his research. There are a ton of pop cultural references to the late 1970s, and you feel like you're actually living and breathing in the 70s with these characters. A lot of the views that these characters have is very 70-ish as well. So some of the political correctness that we have in our society wasn't really back then. So there are some scenes in here where they use terminology and words that might not be alright for everybody, but it didn't really detract from the story. It just made it more authentic that it was in the time period that it was actually in. The vampire mythos that Buehlman has created in this is fantastic and my favorite part. He has done just such a great job having backstories of every single one of these vampires, how they were turned, how they live their life, who they are, and I would absolutely love for there to be a sequel to learn more about these vampires. This isn't the most intellectual book. This isn't the book that's going to open your mind, but it's just a lot of fun. I was so creeped out by those little kids that sometimes while I was listening, I was getting like shivers, and it was just kind of scary, to be honest. I usually don't get scared in books much, but this is one that the scenes were so well crafted that the suspense and tension really impacted me while listening to it. You know, I highly recommend this book to everyone. If you're looking to get into the horror genre, or you're a horror genre lover, this is a book you need to check out. I absolutely adored it. Make sure you guys read some of the samples of the audiobook or samples of the actual book to see if Joey Peacock works for you. Because if Joey Peacock, his personality doesn't work for you, if you think it's annoying, then you're probably not going to like this book. So make sure you check out samples. Alright, so thanks for watching this review, guys, of The Lesser Dead by Christopher Buehlman. I gave this a 4. One of the better horror books that I've ever read, and one of the best vampire books I've ever read, too. Check it out. You will not be disappointed.